Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Motorsports, joined by myself, Mark and Reece alongside me. And what an incredible finish we'd had to that Brazilian Grand Prix. It was all easy for Max Verstappen pretty much throughout that entire race. He did win the Brazil Grand Prix in first. Lando Norris also did very well to manage that car and his tyres, and the team did very well with the strategy to also come in second place there with quite a bit of distance to third place. But what a battle we had down literally to the wire for a photo finish between Fernando Alonso and Sergio Perez. Alonso, though, holding out just to the end there ahead of Perez. Reece, just quickly explain the final laps for Alonso and Perez.
Well, that was just a phenomenal masterclass on defending for Fernando Alonso. Near the end, I think on the second to last lap, he did lose that third position to Sergio Perez. Held himself out though, kept his head cool, stayed within DRS range on Sergio Perez, and managed to take that podium position place back from him on the final lap. Left us to the last possible position and just made it happen. Great day for the Aston Martins, though.
Indeed, and the funny thing, though, is Perez tried to come back at Alonso right on the line, and he had used his DRS. He literally went alongside him, and had the finish line been literally about 5 to 10 meters later than it was, Sergio Perez would have been our third place runner. But Fernando Alonso held on just enough. 0.058 seconds between the two of them. Insane racing and fantastic to watch. And it was literally a battle for about 20 laps. We had Alonso and Perez battling it out there. Alonso, though, just doing brilliantly in that Aston Martin. Also, another brilliant drive to talk about is Lance Stroll, who started in third. People saying he was lucky to get third place in the qualifying. He might have been, but he did brilliantly today to hold on to fifth position and get a lot of points for Aston Martin. And he did get past those Mercedes as well and held his own very comfortably. So fantastic, fantastic racing.
Just to talk about the start of this race, though, what a chaotic start that was. On the formation lap, we had Charles Leclerc experienced a hydraulic failure, which meant he went careering into the barriers. That was game over, unfortunately, for him and that Ferrari car. He was starting from P2, not to be, unfortunately, today. His teammate also was struggling a little bit in the race with some clutch issues and struggling with some downshifts. He finished down in P6, at least with those issues, still maintaining to finish the race. But then on the start of that lap, the first lap of the race, we had a major amount of contact between Nico Hülkenberg, Kevin Magnussen, and Alex Albon. Magnussen and Albon getting taken out of the race in that first corner, and Nico Hülkenberg getting a bit of damage, but he was able to continue onto that race.
Yeah, so just to explain exactly how that happened, Hülkenberg went down the went down the straight. Of course, Magnussen was on his left ahead of him. Albon came up on his right. Albon got ahead of Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg then decided to break out of the contact. In so doing, connected with Albon's rear left tire. Albon then veered into Magnussen as a result. Magnussen was also taken out as a result of that as well. And they obviously went out there. Hülkenberg had a tiny bit of damage, but not enough to really ruin his race all that much. But Hülkenberg then ran over Magnussen's tire, which then careered into the air and went into Ricciardo's rear wing, which basically all should have taken him out of the race. And also Piastri was hit by Magnussen when Magnussen was hit by Albon and was hit in his rear as well. Both of them managed to make it back to the pits. An immediate safety car was called. They went to the pits,
a red flag.
and they thought that their race was over. They pretty much had retired those cars. Then, as we said, a red flag was called. And suddenly both teams were all at work trying to get those cars back, and they managed to get them to start again from the pits. Of course, though, they had to start a whole lap down. So even before we'd finished the first lap, we'd lost 3 cars, potentially would have been 5, but those 2 cars managed to get fixed. Then, of course, the race carried on. Those 2 started from the pit lane. It was a great start for Verstappen. Norris didn't have the best of starts, almost came under pressure there, but managed to hold on to second for the rest of the race. Later on in the race, we lost other drivers. Zhou Guanyu retired in lap 22. Bottas also, I think, in lap 39 it was. Those Alfa Romeos clearly had an issue of some kind. Russell as well, complaining throughout the race. He had a terrible, terrible day.
Well, I think his race was really compromised by Mercedes' strategy today. He was the faster out of the 2 Mercedes today. They were running really close the majority of the race, and they did not decide to invert those 2 cars and let Russell go and chase the drivers ahead of him. That really compromised him and possibly could have been the reason why he did struggle today. Maybe because of him being in that dirty air the entire race. It could have been an engine failure or engine overheating issue that could have caused him to retire. We don't know what the exact issue was for that retirement, but he did end up retiring from the race.
Essentially, So essentially, yeah, a terrible, terrible race there for Russell. Nothing went right for him today. His team weren't even helping him. And there was what I think will be quite a famous little comment from his team in the earlier points of the race in terms of team orders and some teamwork, rather, saying, are we working as a team or are we racing as individuals? To which he got a response of, we're still discussing basically as to whether or not we're going to help you. I mean, absolutely terrible from the Mercedes engineers there in the team. I mean, one would surely hope to help out the member there. I think Russell will be feeling a little bit betrayed after today's race, quite frankly there. His teammate, though, Hamilton, finished off in 8th. Terrible result, actually, for him. Luckily, he managed to stay in the points. Of course, Russell was that last car that did retire. Piastri and Ricciardo did finish the race. Piastri was unable to find that much pace. Of course, still a little bit of damage in the car. In 14th position, same as Ricciardo, down in 13th. They had to start from a whole lap behind, so unfortunate for them. Hulkenberg was then the last of our main runners who basically didn't have that impeding point. He was, of course, involved in that incident in the first lap. He finished off in 12th. Logan Sargent in 11th. So close to points, but really
so close.
Wouldn't have meant much, of course, given the number of cars that retired. Ocon then finished in 10th. Tsunoda in 9th did very well to get into the points as well. Hamilton 8th. Gasly in 7th did brilliantly to overtake those Mercedes and had a great race in Alpine. He was also a quiet driver there. He could have been up there for driver of the day as well. Certainly was right up there, but unfortunately we had other drivers that we had to vote for. Sainz in 6th, Stroll 5th, Perez in 4th, Alonso 3rd, Norris 2nd, Verstappen 1st.
Yes, well, certainly speaking about that drive of the day, Paul, I think that Lando Norris was one of the main contenders for that drive of the day. I think my winner, though, is for sure Fernando Alonso.
I mean, absolutely brilliant race there for Fernando Alonso. He's so chuffed in the pit box there, and I think, quite frankly, the other two drivers are also...
I think he completely deserves it, though. He's had a phenomenal day out there today. But looking at the current Drivers' Championships, this gets affected a little bit now by Hamilton not having the greatest day out there. Verstappen, 524 points out ahead in the championship. Perez, 258. Hamilton, 228. So Perez has been able to extend that gap now to him. Constructors' Championship is pretty much wound up and done a long time ago by the Red Bulls. 782 points in the lead right now.
A very interesting thing that we did just see there, of course, Aston Martin had a brilliant day. Ferrari, not so much with Charles Leclerc having to retire. Sainz still got 6th, but Aston Martin got 25 points today. And as a result, they're only about 20 points behind Ferrari. So we could see Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll and that Aston Martin team fight for 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship to take it away from Ferrari, who's having some disasters right at the end of the season here. I mean, unbelievable things there. As well as Fernando Alonso could try and take back a position in the Drivers' Championships.
Yes, if Ferrari aren't able to pick up their socks, I think they could be under a lot of pressure in these last two races. We'll have to wait and see what does happen. Of course, the next race up on our calendar is Las Vegas. Certainly a lot of hype around that circuit coming up. We're going to wait and see how that all pans out. If it's completely finished by then, it should be. And then we do have the go or no-go Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which we're still waiting to hear if that goes ahead or not. But do be sure to stick around here on Forever Motorsports. Subscribe to this channel. Be sure to check out all of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER and BOYLESPORTS as well in the description of the video. I've been Reece here on Forever Motorsports, joined by Mark alongside me. Thank you very much to all of you who did join me here today for the Brazil Grand Prix. That has been it though.